Homelander's homecoming scene in the fourth episode of Season 4 is a chilling exploration of his fractured psyche and the deep-seated trauma he harbors. After a series of unsettling encounters with alternate versions of himself, Homelander heeds their advice to return to his roots, the vault laboratory where he was raised and experimented upon. This homecoming is not a nostalgic trip down memory lane. It's a confrontation with the source of his pain and a catalyst for his descent into darkness. The scene begins with Homelander's arrival at the lab, a sterile and impersonal environment that echoes his own emotional detachment. He is greeted by unsuspecting lab workers, unaware of the simmering rage beneath his charming facade. Homelander feigns pleasantries, engaging in forced small talk and feigning interest in their mundane lives. However, his true intentions are quickly revealed. As Homelander tours the facility, he is flooded with memories of his tortured past. He relives the experiments, the isolation, and the emotional neglect that shaped him into the monster he is today. The lab, once a place of confinement, now becomes a mirror reflecting his own twisted nature. He sees himself in the frightened eyes of the lab workers, recognizing the power he wields over them. Homelander's demeanor shifts from feigned politeness to thinly veiled contempt. He mocks the workers, belittling their intelligence and questioning their worth. His words are laced with venom, dripping with the bitterness of a lifetime of repressed anger. He revels in their discomfort, feeding off their fear like a predator. The first to die is Frank, who once trapped a young Homelander in an oven, increasing the temperature to see if his skin would burn. While it didn't set him on fire, Homelander recalls with chilling clarity, "My tears sizzled away," describing the agony he endured. Now, he takes his revenge by burning Frank alive in the same oven. His next victim is Marty, who climbed the ranks from a low-level employee to a major player after Homelander joined the Seven. However, Marty's fate was sealed years ago when he laughed at a young Homelander caught in an embarrassing situation. The memory of finding solace in brief moments of privacy as a teen reveals the depths of Homelander's torment. The vivid recounting of his past highlights the twisted cycle of abuse and vengeance. Marty's punishment is brutal. Homelander forces him to masturbate in front of everyone, mocking him with comments like, "It looks like you're shucking a little mushroom." When Marty fails to get an erection, Homelander lasers off his genitals and eventually crushes his head. However, the perspective shifts when Barbara enters the lab. She momentarily calms Homelander by reminding him that the staff only followed orders out of fear of him. She explains that he was dangerous from birth and could have escaped the lab at any time, but he stayed because he craved love and approval, needs that Vought manipulated to keep him in check. But Barbara's attempt to reach Homelander's human side fails. The scene culminates in a shocking act of violence. Homelander, unable to contain his rage any longer, lashes out at the lab workers. He uses his heat vision to incinerate all of them, except Barbara, reducing them to ash in a matter of seconds. Barbara sees her creation unleash a bloody massacre in what's grimly referred to as the Bad Room. Her punishment is to live with the horrifying image of her handiwork. Homelander leaves the lab with a smug look, the scene bookended by the ominous ding of the elevator buttons. This episode suggests that confronting his past only fuels Homelander's monstrous behavior, leaving little to stop him from descending further into madness. The scene is a stark reminder of Homelander's vile nature, leaving viewers exhausted by yet another glimpse into his horrific world. The aftermath of the massacre is haunting. The lab, once pristine and sterile, is now stained with blood and charred remains. Homelander stands amidst the carnage, his face devoid of emotion. He has purged himself of his past, but at a terrible cost. The act of violence has not brought him closure, but rather solidified his descent into madness. Homelander's homecoming scene is a masterclass in psychological horror. It is a visceral and unsettling portrayal of a broken man consumed by his own darkness. The scene is not just about physical violence. It's about the psychological violence that Homelander inflicts upon himself and others. It's about the trauma that festers and grows, poisoning everything it touches. The scene also serves as a commentary on the corrupting influence of power. Homelander, raised in a lab and groomed for greatness, is a product of a system that values power above all else. He has been taught to see himself as superior, as a god among men. This inflated sense of self-worth has warped his perception of reality, leading him to believe that he is above the law, above morality, above humanity itself. Homelander's homecoming is a turning point in his character arc. It marks the moment when he fully embraces his dark side, shedding any pretense of heroism. He is no longer the conflicted anti-hero. He is the villain, the monster, the embodiment of all that is wrong with the world.